You gonna wear these? Yeah, I might not even wear these. I don't know. You never know, bro. You never know. I might just wear them like this because I can still hear. Oh, damn, my speakers ain't even on. Goofy as hell, bro. I didn't even hook the. What's the? I didn't even hook the speakers up. There you go. Cool, cool. All right. Let a few more people get in, then we gonna start. What's up with it, y'all? Let me get these banners going. All right. So y'all already know we last week or the week before last we dedicated Sundays to the domestic violence awareness, and it's just people come to tell their stories, man, about how they made it through domestic violence with the hopes of helping other people, because it ain't always easy to leave, as y'all can already see, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people know people who involved in situations they can't leave. You might not understand why, but shit, it just be like that. So we're gonna have people come in and tell their story, and hopefully, we can help somebody, or we can all come together and help everybody. So I got two guests coming. One of them, I had three, but one of them had to cancel because her case is still going through courts, and she was advised pretty much by her lawyer not to speak on it until after it's over. So we'll be getting her story at a later time. But I'm gonna bring my first guest on, and y'all just listen to her story, and she gonna show y'all how she made it out, and show y'all that it's possible to leave. How you doing?
Hey, good evening. Good evening.
All right,
First
all
of all,
right.
I would just like to say, praise God for blessing to see another day.
Most definitely.
I really, really have a open heart today. Hopefully, I will be able to reach someone.
Most definitely.
I am an advocate of domestic violence. I'm just going to share with you some stories of what I have been through. First of all, I want to let you know that domestic violence is real. Don't ever take it for granted or to think that it's not, because it is real. I started out back in 1996. I met this gentleman here in Fort Worth, and I thought he was going to be the love of my life. I really did. I'm just going to keep it real. I really was attracted to him, and I felt like I was kind of like, those who know me, I would have been a kind of rough person. So I thought maybe, I like that thuggishness in him. And he showed me different sides as things went on. But to back up and not to get ahead of myself, and feel free to jump in and ask me any questions anytime. But I just, that time that I stayed with him, I was on parole. I was running on a parole violation. And I remember the words that he told me. He said, if you just stay with me, I'll walk you through them 5 years that you got left. And knowing me, I had a history of being locked up. So that's the last thing a person want to be, is locked up. So let's do whatever we got to do. Anything, quote unquote, keep me from being locked up. I ended up getting with this gentleman, and as time progressed on, we was into our habits of using drugs. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything because I don't want any of you all to get it twisted. I don't want you to think that it's okay. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm just going to tell you like it is. I'm 55 years of age, and if I can't help someone else, then there's no need for me to even come forward. But what I done, I stayed in this relationship. I worked day in, day out. The first incident that me and him had, I ended up going to the store one day. And he asked me, say, when you come back, will you bring me a six pack? And I let him know. I said, yeah. I'll bring you a 6-pack. So I goes on down to the store and I come back. And he told me, he said, why you been gone so long? I wasn't even gone. I was on foot. So I think I was probably gone maybe 30 minutes. That was the first incident. He ended up slapping me. Mm-hmm. Well, I never thought anything, but I started really thinking to myself, well, was I really gone that long? You know, you kind of start thinking to yourself, was you really gone that long? But then after that, he came back and said, baby, I'm sorry. That's something I never do no more. I never put my hands on you ever again. Well, what we always do, we brush it off. Maybe it was something that I done wrong. That's the first thing I thought in my mind once again. The second incident, he gets jealous about what side of the street that I walk on. He want me to start walking on his side of the street. Everything that I thought he was, it turned out to be the opposite. And as time progressed, he let me see that. Well, y'all, I'm just going to keep it real. That man whooped me from sun up to sundown. Every day there was a fight about something. If it wasn't me giving you my money so you could go get drugs, if it wasn't something for me going to work, coming home, but it took too long for the bus to drop me off, things kept on progressing and kept on progressing. And he kept jumping on me and jumping on me. But see, I'm going to tell you where the fear came in at. The fear came in at, quote unquote, remember I told you about, and it gets emotional because I can't, but you remember when I told you that things start getting emotional for me when I talk about this because it's just so real. I can just, my mind goes back to where I've been.
Yeah, it's all right.
And where I went through. So if I kind of crack when I'm talking to you, because this is Pam talking and I'm not sugarcoating anything once again.
Oh, definitely.
But it got to the point where everything was just a fight with me and him. What they do, they get into your mind and we start making excuses for them. That, oh, maybe it was something that I done. Or where else am I going to go? Don't know. I didn't have no family here in Fort Worth. Where else am I going to go? If I go anywhere, he going to call the police. They're going to lock me up. Where else can I go? So you start dealing with it with your mind. You start dealing with it. You let them start. What they do also, they try to keep you away from your family. So they want to have you to have anything to do with your family. They'll start making excuses when you start going around your family. Y'all know why you going over there trying to take care of them, any little excuse. So that's one of the tricks also. And the reason why they do that is because they are captivating the mind, because they don't want anyone else outside of you and them in this box. So they can have full control. And that full control that you give them leads them to abuse you, to treat you any way that they want to treat you. No one else is going to believe you because you know why? They took you away from everybody else. And what is your word against their word? And that's the way I lived. I lived like that. It's miserable. It's fearful. And I also, the more I think about it, I think about this. I think about it comes also from a low self-esteem about self. Because see, the life that I lived, I didn't do so well with Pam. I was in and out of jail, in and out of prison, in and out on drugs. I didn't do too good with Pam. So my self-esteem was this little. It was this little. I don't care what you might have seen on the outside, but the inside was crushed. Don't know which way to go. Don't know no other way to turn. So you go on with it day in and day out. I went with that for a long time. And I met this gentleman. His name was Johnny Jones. I can say his name. He's deceased. God rest his soul. He was a minister here, pastor in Terrell, Texas. And he told me, he said, you know, I was working with him one day and I could hardly work. I was making some bread at work, some rolls. And he had jumped on me so bad the night before where I couldn't hardly work my arms. And he told me, he said, you know what? He said, I sure hate this for you. He said, but I tell you what, you don't longer have to go through that. He said, I have a house that you can come and you're welcome to stay with me and my brother for as long as you want to. He said, the only thing I ask of you is I have to go to Terrell every Saturday. That's been preaching there for many years, over 60 years. He said, if you could just drive me and my brother to church on Saturday, we got bedrooms in the church, we can come back on Sundays. And that's all you just have to give me for rent. Well, I tell you what.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I tell you what, I tell you what. Now, and that was, yes, Dinky, that was my first relationship. Now, I tell you what, I can back up with that one also, Dinky, because it started out with my first husband. It started out with the first husband, but it wasn't, I got out of that one because I was in the street. So I got out of that one. But with the one I was telling you about, the one here in Fort Worth, yeah, that was the first domestic violence that I had ever went through tremendously. But to get back to the story, I end up coming to stay with my pastor, and I ended up driving back and forth to Terrell. And I was still living at the hotel with this guy. And only thing changed is that my mind started getting stronger. I kept talking where I started having a closer relationship with God and asking God to show me a way. I was fearful to leave because wherever I went, he found me. And when he found me, whoever I was with, he would jump on me. And I was thinking that the people who was with me would have my back, but they didn't get into it. So I was by myself. But I come some kind of way, somehow, God gave me some strength.
Most definitely.
He gave me some strength to be able to get my mind strong. See, that was the angels that stepped in when my pastor told me, you can come stay with me. You don't have to go through that no more. So I end up going to live with my pastor. I end up going to drive back and forth. And here go God. This is where God is stepping in. See, he's there all the time, ladies. He's there all the time. But sometimes you can be so far off into it where it captivates your mind. The devil will captivate your mind to make you think no one's here for you. You don't deserve better because don't nobody else want you. But I'm telling you today that the devil is a lie. And I'm telling you today that there is hope and there is salvation. I'm going to back up because I see more people talking to me. And like I stated, I don't want to rush through anything because I want to help.
You ain't gotta rush.
But so anyway, I'm backing back up. I end up going and I stayed with my pastor, driving back and forth for Terrell, Texas. And I've done that for over 7 years or more. Once I said, God is started, I started listening to God, and he was telling me that you are someone, you are my child. And I started gaining a little bit more self-esteem. Now, keep in mind, I went from a hotel. I didn't go stay with my pastor, but I would leave the room on Saturdays and I would go drive and I come back on Sundays and I go back to the same dang gun place where I left. Because I didn't feel comfortable at that time going to the pastor's house. Them were men's. So I knew it was going to be some kind of problem with me going into a men environment of two older men and leaving him. So here we go with another problem. So I did that for a long time. Finally, like I said, I listened to the word of God. And he told me, that he loved me and I was his child. And he told me I went to a shelter. I stayed in a domestic violence shelter. I stayed there for like 9 days. He found out where I was. He found me on the bus one day coming home from work and followed me. Domestic violence, that's one thing about the shelters. If you ever let your abusers know where you stay and they make themselves known, you no longer can stay there because it is not considered a safe haven anymore.
Okay.
So you have to come up out of there. So that's what I had to do. And where did I go back to? The same thing I came up. And also, I want you to know 99.9%, this is what statistics say, 99.9% of the domestic violence, we end up going back to our abusers. That's what I done, y'all. That's what I done. Finally, I end up moving into my pastor's house. I stayed there, like I said, for many years, and I drove back and forth to Terrell, Texas. And the more I got closer to God, the more I could hear him clearly. Every time he would say something to me or make an accusation that he was going to jump on me, 911, I started dialing. When I started dialing 911 and he started going back and forth to jail, he thought he better stop putting his hands on me. That's where the cycle stopped. When I had the courage to dial 911. See, I stayed away from 911 because remember I told y'all I was running.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the last number you want to call is 911 and you running on a parole violation. But God gave me the strength to start calling 911. And when they got there, it wasn't so bad after all. They didn't want to hear anything about what I had hanging over my head. They was trying to find him. And from that point on, I felt like somebody does care. And that gave me comfort. That gave me comfort. And like I said, I went through it for a long time. And I ended up staying at the same hotel and I moved to my pastor's house, stayed in my pastor's house about two years, and I ended up going back. I ended up going back to him. And the last time I went to him was the last 5 years of our relationship. And I don't know why I went back because there was nothing else that was included with me and him. But you see, another word is complacency. When you get complacency with someone, when you get where you feel like everything is going to be all right. Well, just because you change don't mean that they're going to change. Dinky, I stayed in this relationship 17 years. The last 5 years, like I stated, there was nothing between me and him. He worked, I worked, he come home, I come home. He sleep on one side of the bed, I sleep on the other. We hardly ever said a word to each other. I done that for the last 5 years. But God, I came home from work, had rode some buses. I rode 6 buses a day, coming and going to work. And I came home one day, and this gentleman was walking behind me. And he was fussing about how they had put him up in another room, that in the room that he was in, where it was so far, it was like in the middle of nowhere. And I remember him saying, "Oh, they put me in the middle of nowhere." And I turned around and looked at the gentleman and I said, "Oh yeah, they sure did." And I went on to my room. When I got to my room, I noticed that the gentleman wasn't there, my friend wasn't there. And I said, "Well, where is he at?" With my cigarette. So I said, "You know what, let me go around here and let me ask this gentleman that I just saw, do he have a cigarette?" Well, I walked around there and knocked on the door and asked him, did I have a cigarette? And he said yes, and he gave me a cigarette, and I went on back to the room. When I went back to my room and I sat down, I heard God. God said, "Why did you leave?" And I'm asking the Lord, and y'all, I know ain't nobody in this room but me.
Yeah.
And I'm listening, I heard him say, "Why did you leave?" He said, "You've been praying for a God-fearing husband all these years." He said, "There he is. I smoked that cigarette up in 2 puffs because I could not." I said, "Oh no, oh no." When I went to sleep that night, I had a dream that I was with this same man that I asked a cigarette for. And it was something simple as on a beach, throwing a ball back and forth to each other. And that was so suppressing to my soul. Well, when I woke up and I looked on side me and saw that that man was still on side of me, that just crashed the whole dream. But I'm saying all this to say, I went back that morning, got up, went to work, came home, and I told him that evening when I got ready to go, I said, you know, it's time for me to move on. And you know his words was, B, you ain't gone yet?
Mm.
I got in there and I started packing my suitcase. God told me, he said, you'll be fine, but just don't look back. I'm at a hotel and y'all know how long them dang gum breezeways are.
Yeah.
This is you go a long way before you get to the end. And I got my suitcase and it felt like the suitcases weighed 1,000 pounds. But I kept remembering and kept hearing God say, you'll be fine. Just don't look back. And that's what I done. When I got around that corner, I dropped them suitcases. I couldn't hold it no more. And I just broke down. And the man that God told me that was my husband, that's who I am married to today. I didn't know what the words sweetheart, honey bunch, all them words was. I didn't know what them words was. I thought my name was B's and H's. But God. Ladies, I just wanted to share to you today that y'all don't let anybody, anyone, dog you. Don't let anybody even slap you, because that's the beginning of it. Dinky say, what gave you the courage the day that you didn't have before? God gave me the courage. He gave me the courage, Dinky. He gave me all the strength that I needed to go forth.
Mm-hmm.
I had him all the time. He was there all the time. But self always try to get in the way. The words say, let go and let God. But I'm going to let you know it is real. Don't y'all ever let anybody treat you no more than what you're worth. You are a queen. You're a child of God. You somebody's mother. You somebody's sister. That's who you are. But most of all, you're God's child. You're God's child. And if there's any sign of this about, get out, ladies. Get out. It's a continuation. It'll never end. Because, see, this is what I figured. I figured that there must have been something that had happened down the line to them. And it's just, and then this just keep going on and on and on. But it'll never end. Stop making excuses for them. There's no excuse. Only thing you can do is pray for them, but get out. Get out. I just want to share that with you all. I love each one of you all, cousin. I thank you so much for letting me be able to share my story.
Thank you.
Hope that I have reached out to someone, and I hope that y'all have heard me clearly. I love you too, Melissa, and I just want y'all to know that God is still on the throne. Okay. Now, Dinky said, did the fear disappear the same day, or were you continuously looking over your shoulder? The fear was gone. God say, fear not, my child. Don't worry about nothing. And that's what I done. So I just want y'all to know that I hope I have helped someone. I hope I have helped someone. But ladies, get out. Thank y'all. May God bless you. And keep your head up. Keep your head up. Thank you, cuz.
Thank you. I'm gonna call you as soon as I get off here. I'm
all right, sweetie. Once again, thank you. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, Father, where's the broadcast?
Hey, she was gonna have to take them off there because she don't know how to close it out yet. But I gotta waiting my other guest to pull up. We got another page for that's just dedicated to domestic violence. And if you want to be a part of that group, just message us after the show or right now because somebody's on there already looking and doing it. But let me see where my. But anytime like y'all want to pull up and y'all tell y'all a story, bro, anybody can come, and we gonna make sure y'all all right, for real, for real. And when I say anybody, bro, I'm talking about anybody. Yeah. And she said, I don't know if she ain't coming like the next 5 minutes, we gonna just do our thing. But even if you don't want to be on camera, I can pull you on camera. I mean, I can pull you on here and just you know, play your voice. You won't be on the camera because everybody ain't like being on the camera. She said she need the link. You you still backstage. You can you If you exit out, you can just go to your Facebook page. Y'all share the live for me, and it'll take you there. Man, I believe you. You know for a fact I believe you. I believe everything you and Kevin said. I mean, I know we family, so I know. But I just appreciate her for reaching out to me. You know what I'm saying? Because what I mean, to share her story, bro. 'Cause I would have never approached nobody like and tell them to come tell a story about somebody hitting on them, and what I'm saying. I got my own story, but I appreciate you, Kinfolk, for allowing my platform to be yours, man, because that's what it's for. And I'm sure you did help somebody. Don't be surprised if you get messages from people asking you certain stuff. That's what it's about. She said, "Nah, Dina, he's still living." I don't know where this other person is, bro. But anyway, the number scrolling at the bottom, and if I believe it's a hotline, it's 24/7. And we, like I said, on the other group that we got dedicated to domestic violence, it has a bunch of other resources, and it's a bunch of ladies on there who can, get you to the right people. Make sure you talk to the right people so you can get the right kind of help. They definitely willing to help. Like I'm talking to these people offline. They don't. It's a lot of people who want to do stuff the right way, but it's a lot of people who are involved in the group who can't wait till somebody call them and be like somebody putting their hands on them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just which I'm gonna take I would take the Malcolm X stand over anything anyway. But so it is people in our city who do care. Man, all you gotta do is reach out. It's people who got shelter for you, got rides for you, definitely got protection for you, or you know. But if you want, like I said, if you want to get part of that group, just message the show. But yeah, I guess she's not coming. I don't know what happened. So we gon' we gonna end it right there. If anybody else want to tell a story, you can. Like you just hit me up in my personal inbox or the show. And like I said, we had another girl, but her case is still pending, and she can't really speak on it right now. So I know I got her coming up whenever that's over. So if you want to tell a story, just reach out to us and we'll put you on as soon as we can. But let me see. All right, yeah, we finna end it, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and hopefully we'll be hearing from y'all soon. Want to join the group to help in any way you can, or you know whatever y'all want to do. We ready. Tina Govan, he's still walking out in good health. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Y'all stay blessed.